Hey y'all, we are back with another dense update. Here we go. All right, so as 2024 wrapped up and we're into 2025, their year in review videos, Talking Elite Fitness sat down to talk about 2024. The first bit of that show is them talking about the debacle that was the CrossFit Open in 2024 and the Golden Barbell. I'm going to have to agree with Sean Woodland on this. It was a disaster. And if you saw Andrew Hiller, he did a recap video on that specific topic of the video. And basically, all of that boils down to two people who were in charge of the Open, and that was Emily O'Hearn and Jonathan Haynes, and they no longer work for CrossFit. They've been...
You're fired.
Tommy, of course, being Tommy, not so pleasant things to say, but then follows it up with this.
2011, I've been as positive about the sport as anyone, and...
Yeah. What are we talking about? Come on, man.
One thing I will say that we're all in agreement on, Sean Woodland, Andrew Hiller, myself, and I'm sure many of you out there watching, is that the Open wasn't broken. The Open announcements were probably one of the biggest highlights of the season for the fans. I remember at our gym, we would plan watch parties. When the Open announcements used to be on Thursdays in the evening at 7 p.m., we'd all go work out for the day. We'd go home, eat dinner. We'd come meet back up at the gym, and we'd all watch it together. Now, I remember somewhere along the way, Dave said he was getting to the point where he was ready to pass the torch because it is a big production. It's a lot of theatrics. You couldn't wait for him to walk out with the mic, and he'd sit there a little silent at first and...
115 for the men, 80 for the women. The second movement is the ring muscle up.
You were on edge wanting to know what he was going to say. Every single workout. And when that went away, it sucked. It would be really cool to see Dave come back into it, at least for one full workout announcement, and then maybe for the rest of them, have other relevant personalities that are current in the space right now that are really popular to the people and to the fans do those Open announcements. How friggin' cool would that be? Andrew Hiller, because they love him and they hate him. It's kind of the same with Castro all those years. There was a love-hate. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. CrossFit Games recently announced the dates and locations for the Masters, Teenage, and Adaptive divisions. This year, the Masters and the Teenagers will be together on the same weekend in Columbus, Ohio. It is set to take place the weekend of August 21st through 24th. However, the venue location has not been released yet. And then the Adaptive Games will be September 9th through the 13th in Las Vegas, Nevada. Man, if they would have put the games in Las Vegas, Nevada, woohoo, buddy. The CrossFit Games also announced another in-person qualifying event, that being the NorCal Classic. Now, that online qualifier has started already, but they have extended the dates for submissions in order to give people time to complete the workouts. Normally, that event takes place in September in Northern California. However, it is scheduled for June 6th through 8th in Sacramento. This event is known for programming kind of some off-the-wall things. I know they had a pretty interesting gymnastics complex with some pullovers and drop kips. They had a bucket hold event. And the Real Sevan podcast this year will be doing the live stream for that event. Now, the Northern California Classic posted the workouts for their online qualifier. One of the workouts in particular getting a lot of attention out there in the community. And like I said, NorCal Classic is known for programming some off-the-wall movements. This first workout has traverse double unders in it. Yeah, you heard what I said. It's like a bunny hop with a jump rope. A couple of people I noticed on Instagram this morning, Alan Pepper being one. Dallin actually makes it look really easy. Oh, double under crossovers, James Sprague. That's sick. Oh, and Jason Hopper with the reverse double under traverse. Yo, dude, that's insane. I think at first on paper, it just sounds ridiculous. Well, that's actually really easy. If you're efficient at double unders, you really shouldn't have a problem with that. Mike, aka Pool Boy, who was at the NorCal Classic last year, he took on this workout this morning and sent me some videos.
A word of advice, warm up your lower back.
A couple of people have sent me the workout standards for top heavy, which is one of the qualifying workouts. Now, it did state in the workout standards that you could either use an assault bike or an echo bike. So I guess if you have an option to use both, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, the assault bike is so much easier than the echo bike because the echo bike literally destroys my soul. Want to be one step closer to the CrossFit Games? Everybody knows that one janky assault bike in the corner of the gym that everyone wants because it counts calories quicker. Let's go to the comment section. Coach Matt of Brute Strength, Matt Torres. I'll be searching the whole city for an assault bike. The Barbell Spin has added the NorCal Classic to the 2025 season calendar that is on his website. So he is keeping that current up to date. If you want a full list of all of the events and qualifiers for the year, you can go there to find that. You know, I noticed Brian Friend posted to his story again a little clip of him from the podcast that he did telling his story about what happened at the CrossFit Games. And he wrote all around it. It said, but for now, this is the best insight you can publicly find and how badly the athletes were failed that day and that weekend and since then. For you to continually push this and to suggest that all of the athletes felt they were betrayed or failed that day is inaccurate. You're peddling your narrative, but for what intent? Just to get some views on your podcast? To drive people away from CrossFit to go to the WFP? We're going to talk more about the WFP in here in just a second. Recently, Training Think Tank released a new episode to their YouTube channel. Max, Travis, and Perrin all sat down to talk about the World Fitness Project. Now, Travis is assigned athlete to the World Fitness Project, but he does open up by saying that he doesn't know a lot of the details, and he knows that there still are a lot of details that haven't been finalized. I don't know why we all have to just beat around the bush. And there are other athletes who have been releasing details. Like we know Victor Hoffer leaked that next year's 2026 contracts could be exclusive, according to the talks that his agents had with the Will Morad's team. We know Justin Medeiros knows when certain events are happening. Prize money has been leaked, $30,000 per tour event, $70,000 for the final event. I mean, so they know these things. They're just not saying, and that's fine. I would rather you just say we can't talk about it right now.
Because this info should come out. If there's no NDA, it's going to leak. But if there is, then we know they're keeping it very quiet on purpose.
Jared definitely knows that there's an NDA or not.
Well,
yeah, well,
so there you go.
Yeah, they have NDAs, but like.
But then Perrin went on later to say that the athletes do have fan commitments built into their contracts. That stuff is built into their contract. They will be obligated to do those things on site at the event. But people keep comparing this situation to the PGA and Live Golf. And you guys, we're not even on the same friggin' planet as the PGA and Live Golf.
But I think having someone that is kind of competing against the sport, I think it helps and pushes CrossFit to try to elevate it to make it more professional. You look at what Liv did to the PGA. The PGA has now stepped up their game. They have stepped up supporting the athletes. They have stepped up like a lot of back end things.
Please stop. It's embarrassing.
They went into a partnership with Liv too.
Yeah, and so now it's turned into something where they're working together.
That merger was announced more than 18 months ago, and they still haven't reached a deal.
No news on the PGA Tour deal, or we get a tie.
Well, this sounds like middle school drama, right? You got people going behind people's backs. You got, you better do this, or we're not going to do this, and all this stuff. But PGA Tour players are still really angry, and they're holding this grudge about, hey, we were offered this money, we didn't take it, you guys did.
There are billions. I think I even read an article that there are trillions of dollars wrapped up in the PGA and Live Golf. I mean, I know y'all want to toot your own horn, but no. 500,000 Instagram followers does not make you Phil Mickelson. You guys are trying to force something that needs to happen organically. We are not baseball. We are not MLB, NFL, PGA. We are none of those things. Agents and athletes, y'all need to deflate, okay? Deflate the egos. It just goes to show how out of touch these people are with the fan base. And I'm going to continue to say that over and over again as a fan. They're optimistic. They're excited for it. They talk about the workouts are going to be released to the athletes 3 weeks prior to the events, which for me, announcing the exact workout 3 weeks prior to an event so that everyone can practice it, Everyone can run through it. Everyone can strategize the most efficient ways to do it. Takes the excitement out of it. And Travis says that everyone will have a better opportunity to perform well because they know the workout. But then it leads me to believe, well, if everybody has practiced it for 3 weeks, I'm thinking this is just going to look very robotic. It's going to be boring. If I'm a fan at home and I already know the events and there's some I like or don't like, or I think are, then I'm not watching the whole entire thing. You know what I mean?
So for me, having this outlet of being like, look, I got 3 times this year where I get to go compete in person.
If you want more opportunities to compete and earn money, there have been competitions out there already that do that. Look at Colt Mertens winning NorCal Classic last year. Any one of you could have gone and signed up for that event too. It's not that there's a lack of events out there that are paying athletes. That's the same paycheck you're going to get at a tour event for the WFP. You made the choice not to go and compete at these other events. Maybe it wasn't worth your time, or maybe you weren't peaking then, or whatever it might be, but it's not that these things didn't exist and haven't existed. Dubai Fitness Championship, why didn't any of you guys go out there and compete there? If Patrick Vellner, Yola Hosta, Ricky Garrard, Dallin Pepper, Jason Hopper, Saxon Panchak, Guy Malharris, James Sprague were all at Dubai Fitness Championship, would Luca have won? What was the payout there? 50 grand, tax free? Now look, you're not going to find a camp or an athlete out there that is not going to have great things to say about the World Fitness Project. Everyone has a vested interest in this thing now. Of course, they're all going to say, we're so excited. This is going to be great. We love it. Training Think Tank has Alexis Raptis, Travis Mayer, Bethany Flores is coached by Perrin, or she used to be. And I know the athletes want this push to professionalize the sport. I don't think we are a big enough ecosystem and fan base to be essentially forcing the athletes to choose. And we may not be there this year, but the more you look at it on paper, that is a lot of competing. For the athletes that are still on the fence and in the middle and want to try to do both, that's going to be a lot of events this year. And is that going to water down what the competition looks like?
But my ass on that. The reason I say that is because I think that with the other competitions that are coming out, the way that they're trying to come out, it is going to dilute what we have athlete-wise.
I want to preface this by saying there is no one out there in the space right now that is questioning the integrity or the character of any of the people at the World Fitness Project. I did say that I thought certain things that were going on right now were a little bit shady in regards to the exclusivity. But as far as Will Morad and Jackson Terry and the husbands and the Gillette, I don't know these people. I'm sure they are really wonderful people. They've been involved in some really amazing nonprofit foundations. However, that doesn't mean that it is not okay to question whether or not this team, in particular a team with a bunch of 20-somethings, to manage and execute such a big undertaking. This is a big deal. At the forefront is Will. He is a CrossFit Games athlete, very qualified as an athlete, very qualified as someone who's been in and around the sport for a really long time. We know who the investors are. That is Beth and Quentin Gillette. And then you have Isabella Terry. She is the daughter of Beth and Quentin Gillette. She is your director of communications. Then you have her husband, Jackson Terry, who is your director of operations. From what I could see, it looks like the two of them were high school sweethearts. Isabella turned 18 in 2016, so that would put them somewhere around 25, 26 years old. And then a good bit of their social media is them vacationing in Hawaii. Looks like Jackson started CrossFit somewhere around 2020 is when it starts popping up on his social media. And that's the first year that he participated in the CrossFit Open, according to his games profile page. So they've been in and around the sport for about 4 years. 4 years. And then you have your director of business development, which is Ryan Husband. Now, Ryan Husband founded the LRX apparel company. That company launched in 2017. And Ryan's been doing CrossFit since at least 2016. He has a games profile page. He's done the Open since then. And then you have his wife, Maggie Husband. And Maggie is the director of logistics for the World Fitness Project. Logistics being Probably one of the most important roles when it comes to venues, equipment, staging, vendors, logistics, I think is like really high up there. Then you have 2 event directors. You have Jason Ainsley. He is your USA event director. And as we know, there's rumored to be 2 events in the United States, 1 in Europe. He has participated in the CrossFit Open from 2013 to 2022. So he's been around CrossFit for a really long time. I'm not really sure why he hadn't done the Open in the last 2 years, but just after the CrossFit Games, he was actually on the Counterculture podcast.
But it starts with you guys around and say, if you want to protect the future of this sport, you better protect your athletes today. And it means showing up to the CrossFit Games and letting CrossFit know that if we cannot sign a players association agreement with you, which includes judging all of the things, right, that you have to have, health insurance, and at 3, 2, 1, go, we don't move. And if you guys will not move, it'll magically happen.
And do it
magically be a contract.
And do it on the hour that ESPN is live, man. Seriously.
Ay. And then for the European event director, you have Roger Nilsson. Now, he is the event director of the Wadla Group. He's participated in the CrossFit Open from 2017 until 2024. Some of the recent events that he's been involved with is the Wadland Fitness Festival, which is a CrossFit licensed event, as well as the Oslo Throwdown. A lot of positive feedback from those events. It looks like he runs a pretty clean event. Who's the CFO? Who's the CEO? Do they have a CEO and a CFO? You have a lot of directors. I'm assuming mom and dad are the CEO and CFO. Ay. Here's how I see it. Year 1, this is a test run. It's gonna be a shit show. There are gonna be so many things that they don't foresee or forecast. It's gonna be a learning experience for sure. Year 2 is gonna be trying to learn from all of those mistakes. And if they make it to year 3, if the money lasts till year 3 and they somehow get a title sponsor or some sort of media deal, if they make it to year 3, that is when we will really know whether this thing is going to be the real deal or not. I'm not saying that it can't be done. The Terry's parents do own a very successful company, so having them mentoring them, I'm sure, is going to help tremendously. Are there paid judges and equipment people, or is this going to be volunteer basis? I have no idea how this entire thing is going to run, and I guess only time will tell, but I'm just having a hard time seeing how people can be so confident that this thing is going to work. And some more exciting and positive news, Gabby Magala got her boot off. The entire Sevan crew, Andrew Hiller, Taylor Self, Matthew Souza, Sevan, and so many others are headed to Arizona this weekend. They will be shooting Kill Taylor on Saturday. I think it's going to be in the afternoon instead of when it typically is in the morning. Be on the lookout for that. Again, the workout will be posted on the Real Sevan Instagram channel. A couple of things that I'm going to catch up on that I will include in my next Dents update video will be the interview with Noah Olson on Be Friendly Fitness. And then I know Blair Morrison, the event director of the NorCal Classic, is going to be on the barbell spin. There's also another new episode of Around the Whiteboard with Coffee Pods and Wads. Matt Souza did his 2025 prediction show. That was a good show. Some of the topics he talked about was game athletes boycotting the Open. He talked about the WFP. Andrew Hiller's subscriber count. Don Fall being the CEO, not being the CEO. Will CrossFit sell? Will the CrossFit ecosystem grow after this year? So that's definitely a good prediction show. You should check that out. That is all for this Dents update. Be sure to leave us a comment, like, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're into that sort of thing, you can head over to my Instagram page where you can follow me there for all the latest happenings in the CrossFit community.